Good evening. Good evening. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Listen, welcome again for day three. Day three of the Black Man Made Well.
Day three.
That's it. And I am still your host, Martina Sellers, your mental health hygienist, coming to you live and always in living color in Southern California, where the sun is always shining. I wish I could say it never rains in Southern California.
But that proved us wrong today.
It proved us wrong. We had thunder and lightning. Listen, God was moving till today. But I am so glad that I'm joined here again by my co-host, partner in crime. He's better known as John Henry Scott III.
The third,
AKA Portia Scott's husband.
That's who I am. Thank you for having me. What's up, everybody? I'm
What's
John
up?
Henry. I'm so happy to be here, man. It has been an incredible week.
Yes, it has been.
Week.
It has been amazing.
You.
The jewels that these gentlemen have been dropping to us about debunking the myths of black fathers and black fatherhood. It's been astonishing.
Without question. That's one of my words. Stunning. Incredible.
Stunning, incredible.
No, I fully agree. It's just being very practical.
Yes.
And the ability to connect through this vulnerability and transparency from all of the panelists we've had all week. And I just believe that tonight's going to be nothing short of equally as incredible and insightful. But I think what we do, that's my baby.
I know. Portia Scott. Hello, darling. How are you? Yes, one of our guests said, wait a minute. Is that Portia's husband?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Portia's husband. So he is affectionately known as Portia's husband. Brock, how you doing?
Hey,
good to see you, Brock.
Yeah, and to the audience.
Yes.
To everybody that's joining.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you for being with us all week. Make sure you share the broadcast. Make sure you follow the page if you're not following the Black Man Made Well page, and also Mental Health Marketing.
Mental Health Marketing.
Because we're streaming both, right?
We're streaming on both tonight.
I love it.
Because it's so important that we share this, because we want black fathers to be empowered, equipped, and encouraged through all of this. Godfrey. Yes,
that's my guy.
That's your guy.
That's
your guy. Yes. In doing this, so John Henry, let's talk about at least review what we've gone over this week. Talk to us about Monday night. And what we did on Monday night.
We had the panel. We gonna call them just the all-star panel, as they would affectionately refer to as themselves. Every night has been all-stars. But Monday night we really talked about just debunking the myths that just surround black fathers in general. So from Dr. Webster, Dr. Brown, Dr. Jackie Smith, and Dr. Danielle Hill, the conversation was insightful, and it is still up on the page now. So if you missed it, go check it out. But talk to us about Tuesday. What happened last night? Last night we had this amazing panel of black male therapists. Thomas Davis, Pernell Bush, a.k.a. Pink Panther. The Pink Panther. Juggernaut therapist
That's
himself.
Right. Danny Ross, Stevan Lewis, and Alex Dorsey.
Wait, Alex, wasn't he like a surprise?
Alex came in and did
ready, right?
He was ready.
Yeah.
He came in. He was that silent killer that kind of gets you. He came in there, was real solid. So glad with that panel was really good. We're talking about the mental health of black men, black fathers, and getting through a lot of the trauma, the fight, the flight, the denial that often black fathers go through, and not having a safe space to say, hey, I'm not doing okay. I need some help. Or even sharing, I don't even know how to do this. And it's okay.
And we talked about rest, right?
Yes.
And the importance of that and what that can look like. And then tonight, one of the things that's been a common thread we've talked about all week is this idea of when the man isn't healthy, then everything is impacted by that. So this brings us to tonight, right? We're going to just have a conversation with another all-star panel.
That's right.
We've got Gage Henderson coming in tonight. We've got Dr. Chris Williams. We've got the great Bishop Sean Stewart. And we've got one of the GOATs of fatherhood that I absolutely just admire so much, Stephen Dolphin himself. And we're really going to talk about the triad of a man, spirit, soul, and body. What does being healthy in its entirety really look like? And I think this is going to be a great discussion, Mark.
I'm excited. Are you ready? Let's bring him on.
I'm ready.
You're ready. So first of all, I'm so excited to bring this young man. He is a phenomenal husband, father, instructor at Azusa Pacific University. Glad to have him a part of Marcel Consulting Mental Health. He's one of the great therapists here. He is one that you need to keep in your records and in your books. He's coming up and coming. That's changing the game. So glad to have with us, for the first time, but coming back on this series is none other than Mr. Gage Henderson.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes,
excited.
sir. How you feeling?
Feeling great. It's a beautiful night. It was a crazy day, but luckily I do telehealth and I'm indoors, so I was fine.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Gage, for those who may not know who you are, give us a little brief introduction of who you are, what you do, and how's the babies?
Babies are babies. Babies are phenomenal. It's interesting. Last night we had a crazy night with her. She was thrown up all over the place, but it's one of those best the moments that are like scary, but you know, when you're able to just hold them and they find their rest and comfort in you, it makes parenting all worth it. But anyways, my name is Gage Henderson. I am a registered associate marriage and family therapist. I've been practicing in the field for going on about 4 or 5 years. So far, my work has been with juvenile probationers, now working with men and adults and millennials, and understanding what mental health is and the true mental health concerns that we have, especially coming through COVID that did so much to us. But in addition to that, I also serve in ministry at my local church, Abundant Living Family Church, and I also adjunct profess at Azusa Pacific University. I fell in love with it, and so far, as long as my wife lets me, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, give me $20. But anyway,
that's just saying today. Hey,
give me $20. Give me $20. You listen to this. I can figure 20 from all the panels. I'll be all right. Listen, Gage, welcome, man, and always thank you for coming on. Let's bring on the GOAT, who you says is a GOAT. I'm gonna let you introduce the GOAT.
Yeah. I tell you, I first met this gentleman. What was it? 2 months ago, or was it last month? About a month and a half ago, we had a conversation, and I immediately just found something admirable about him through that conversation. And when it was time for this panel, I was like, man, Marty, we've got to have him a part of this event. And so it is the man himself. Let's bring Steve Dolphin on. Steve, where you at, man?
Yes, sir. That's my best friend. What's up, Steve?
Hey, guys. Thank you for having me on this panel this evening. And, I'm always here to support. And basically about myself, I'm a former Marine. Sir. Before that, actually, I'm originally from South America, Georgetown, Guyana. So I'm a foreigner. By birth. Raised in Brooklyn, New York. And the Marine Corps brought me to California, saw some palm trees, and I'm not leaving.
There you go.
And one of my biggest major accomplishment is I'm a husband first.
Okay.
And I'm a dad. It's one of my, John Henry spoke about that earlier. He was saying how one of his major accomplishments in life was to be a dad. I mean, that's the longest thing I've ever done in my life besides being married. And now I'm a proud granddaddy. So
come on.
So I'm here to help and here to share my experiences, and hopefully I can add some value to this session this evening, and let's go.
Yes, sir. Well, listen, Steve, welcome. Now, coming from North Kakalaki, listen, he's becoming just a real good friend, colleague. Trust him so much. And he has this amazing IG page that he's really talking about from the heart and really challenging us to look at our own mental health from a different perspective with that. He is a true doctor and is not an earned doctorate, but he got the bills and everything to show and prove his doctoralship, and it's true. But welcome back, my brother, my colleague, and all this, none other than Dr. Chris Williams.
What's up, doctor?
What's up, Dr. C?
Man,
how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm glad to be here. I'm blessed and honored to be a part of this all-star roster. And this is just an amazing feeling. And all of that. So I'm hoping to add some value and see if we can help some fathers out here today.
That's right. Dr. Chris, tell us about what you do and your passion.
Sure. So I am Dr. Chris Williams. I am a physical therapist by training. That's where I got my doctorate from. And I'm a bit of a jack of all trades. And so when COVID hit, I got laid off, and I said, you know what? Never again. I'm going to go actually pursue my passions. And so I became a certified health coach, and I struggled with some managing my anger issues, and it's just been something that's transformed my life. And so I wanted to go and pursue something where I could speak from the heart and help out other people. So that's where my specialty is, especially, I mean, I help everybody, but I especially love helping men, because I feel like we need it the most, and we need a voice, and it's just so much need there. So I do that. I'm a DJ as well. So I do that, and I'm a husband. I'm a father of a marvelous 7-year-old little girl, and I'm just happy to be here and help shed some light and spread the light and raise some vibrations up in here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And coming back, he is definitely no stranger. No stranger. In fact, get prepared to get your laugh on with this. He's a part of our Monday Black Culture, Community, and Christ. But I'm so glad that he's here tonight with us with his expertise, none other than Bishop Dr. Sean Stewart.
Good evening, family. Can you hear me well?
Yes, sir. We hear you clearly.
Awesome. Well, I'm suffering with this thing called Apple technology. Right. And I have learned a quick lesson real quick that the chargers for Dell and Apple don't match.
They don't. They're different.
They clearly. And that plugging one into the wrong piece of technology and plugging it into the wall does not mean you've got the right authority to go forward. Yes. Henceforth, my death.
Bishop, what we gonna do with you?
I was sitting here pressing buttons. I checked it down, and then my neighbor's kid come up. Uncle, Android and Apple don't use the same chargers.
No, they don't.
How'd you force it in there?
Bishop, introduce yourself. Bishop, introduce yourself. Do not go down that. Bishop, introduce yourself. Bishop, introduce yourself.
I couldn't help myself.
My name is Sean Stewart. I am the senior servant at Freedom Church, Houston and Dallas. I am the presiding bishop and president of the Freedom Church Fellowship of Ministries. We are in 18 states and 4 continents and 2 countries and growing. My favorite statement is, I'm just a servant. I'm here to serve you in whichever capacity that I am able to do so. And all of my professional training has led me to be nothing more than a servant at my best. So I'm just a servant, well-read, well-educated, but country, but we get with you quickly, and we honor God.
Amen, amen, awesome. Amen. And the church said, amen. All right. Yes, Bishop. Yes, listen, Portia, I understand.
You shouldn't draw me out like that, but I got you. Check your phone before you go to bed tonight. I want you to abide by those. You understand? I want you to abide by it.
We started off this week with this statistic, and I think it's so imperative that we talk about this. And I want to start it off, according to the CDC, and as reports as soon as early as even 2020, it says, and I quote, says, Black fathers are just as present and sometimes more present than their counterparts, than their Anglo counterparts, their Latino counterparts, and of other cultures. Black fathers do more with spending time and rearing their children. For we fathers who have girls combing their hair, getting out there for the boys playing sports. We're there with helping them get dressed and bathing them. Also, according to the CDC, it says 58% of Black fathers live with one or more of their children, and 72.7% of Black fathers talk to their children at least between 5 to 7 times a week asking them how is their day, whether they live in the home or not. In other words, showing that the consistency of the black fathers showing up in the lives of their children. With that being said, we have these statistics. Why aren't those statistics being put out to the general public? And why do we still believe in the notion of the deadbeat black dad and what that plays in our, not only our psyche, but in our physical involvement and overall wellness as fathers? I'm gonna throw this out to Dr. Chris first with that, and talk to me, Dr. C.
Well, the inner Chris, I would say, is I tend to be a part-time conspiracy theorist, and I just feel like people don't want to hear all of that. It's easy, it's convenient to sit here and stick with the deadbeat dad thing because that's what we know. Change is different, and sometimes it's hard to accept, and people don't want to. They don't want to do that. So it's just easier just to, I tell people, our brains are wired to seek pleasure, avoid pain, and to use the least amount of energy while you're doing it. And so that's really kind of my explanation for it. And I don't like that. I think that's why you do what I do and, agree to be a part of things like this because I happen to be blessed to know a lot of great fathers.
Yes, exactly.
And black men. And it's funny, my wife and I were just having this conversation like yesterday. And it's like, oh, there ain't no good men out here. And it's like, yo, I can name like a dozen that I know.
Right.
Where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? And so I love to hear those statistics because I just feel like that's a bunch of baloney.
Yeah.
Google where it goes back to what we were saying last night, right? The question that we asked was, we have to ask ourselves the question, who told you that? Right. Like, where did you get that from? And it's the source of the information. Probably not appropriate for this panel, but there's an old John Mayer song. You guys probably don't know who John Mayer is, but
I know John Mayer.
But John Mayer said in the song, "Waiting on the World to Change," there's this one lyric that says that if they own the information, then they can twist it all they want. And so the question is that why do they own the information, and is the information even right? And the information isn't right.
It's not.
You just debunked it, and all week long we've had panels, and I'm sure we're going to do this again tonight to really create this correct narrative.
That's right.
Because I have a hard time finding fathers who ain't killing it.
That's right. That's right. Bishop, your eyebrows went up. What are those eyebrows saying? Come on, talk to us. Because you're in the school system.
I agree with you, and I would even push us a little further and raise the question. Not only are we looking for, I will say this, the only place prophecy is relevant is in the church. Everywhere else you need facts. And we have facts that support that this data is real. What we don't have are people who are trumpets blasting it to the top of the world.
Come on.
It's because it is better. It's almost like this Trump narrative. They are a coup looking for an outcome, a theory, if you will. When people say that there are no good men, that theory is easier to own because then you get to cast blame and your part in becoming in the problem that you're in versus owning that we might have made this together and it didn't come out like we expected, but we have the opportunity to fix it. The narrative isn't who owns the narrative is my problem. I'm with Apostle. It is who owns it because that's the story that's out there. It's almost like the scripture. Knowing what God intended versus what man interprets are two separate arguments within the construct of the text. And it's the same thing with this narrative. Who owns the information is one thing. How they construct it and push it out is a whole nother conversation. And the thing that is amazing to me, we have some of the world's leading Black female journalists out in the world have platforms that they never would have got. But we do not hear this level of information, and it's not like it's not readily found.
That's good. Gage talked about the whole maladaptive practice and maladaptive thoughts. If we now, because we don't have access to, or we do have access to, but we don't have we're not interpreting it right. So even the maladaptive thoughts that come behind that as fathers, and just the continuing to play that negative narrative, the stinking thinking in our minds.
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. It's a maladaptive thought, so it's a negative thought. But more than that, it's a societal way of thinking distortedly, right? We call it when we're working with people, your distorted thoughts. So when you go through trauma, when you go through life experiences, they shift how you see the world and society around you. Now, society itself has a view of the Black father. They either have multiple children with multiple different women. They're in jail or incarcerated. They're out running the street, doing whatever it is they're doing. They're not in the home. So now you have statistics and data that's showing, no, they are in the home, but yet our society has such a distorted thought process of what a father of color looks like. A part of me wants to say most people don't even want to believe it. But I think like all of us, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. We each know probably an additional 5. So that's 25 just between us. And then we keep multiplying that. We know it's there. We are practicing and changing our distorted thinking. I don't think society is ready for that, nor do they want to believe it, because I think we get it's what was stated earlier, it's comfort.
Yeah.
Right? I feel safe here. So I'm going to just stick with this. This is the truth. There are no good men. I'm going to do it. And then now you see society continues to go towards a more maladaptive approach behaviorally based on that distorted thinking.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because beliefs produce actions.
That's right.
Right. And so you go back to the experience. Experiences create beliefs. Beliefs produce actions, and the actions will going to equal whatever those results are. Let's go to Steve, because Steve, you are living proof.
That's right.
That the statistics and the data that we see right here, I mean, are something that we can really shine a light on and highlight. And so talk to our audience really about this from your own lived experience.
That's good.
Yeah. I was chomping at the bit when you just mentioned this topic, because it's one of the things that, like for instance, I know Marty's one of my best friends. We have, he was a single dad, raising a son and a daughter, and being there in the home, doing whatever it took to make sure he provided, and mentally, physically, financially, for his children. I mean, one of our other best friends, Vendon Smith, is another one that have, children that, from a prior marriage and prior relationships, that kind of thing, and did exactly that as well. So when you talk about people who are, who fathers who are deadbeat and those type of labels, I believe personally, like you mentioned earlier, it's a false narrative that is easy for the world to follow, to go behind, to always say that kind of thing. Because I fought for my kid, my eldest boy, and won in full custody $20,000 later, And to say that if I was a deadbeat dad, the first thing I would have done after that first $1,000 bill would have been like, I'm not doing this, based upon what society deems as normal for Black fathers in America. Make sense? So, in America. So so when you hear that, and I know that I grit my teeth when people talk about deadbeat dads. I'm like, well, I can give you some, like you mentioned earlier. We have enough examples here that we can show and tell people.
Just what Gage said. Yes.
Just what Gage said. So it's like, so when you hear these type of things, it's always an easy thing to put someone in that box and say that they're deadbeat, because when they see a child, they may only recognize that they're with the mom or whatever, but they're not out there in the weekends in my situation, weekdays when we were raising our kids and doing our thing with my eldest boy, and being out there in the grind, and being there with the homework situations, and being there, nurturing them, and being there, hugging them, and kissing them, and letting them know that it's okay for daddy to kiss you, those subtleties and that kind of thing that today builds the whole man, and then let them move forward with their relationships and their being a parent to get that proper model that they can go out into the world and produce.
There you go.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, because I was saying you are modeling the appropriate behaviors and breaking down the negative stereotypes. And even can I go here? Even so that side of toxic black masculinity, that it's okay for a father to kiss his son. It's okay for a father to hug his son. It's okay for a father to cry with his son in those regards. And that is now it's strengthening that bond to let him know, listen, you don't have to be perfect, but I'm going to be here and show up in your life. The presence of a father and what that makes a difference in their lives.
And that's super valuable. I mean, that's so valuable, because even to this very day, I'm going to make fun of it, but my sons, I have twin boys that they're in college, and to this very day,
they go to?
Right there. What's that?
What school do they go to?
Brown
University.
Brown.
Yes, sir.
This one called Brown.
This is some little institution called Brown University. Yeah.
Back in the cold East.
Yeah.
But to this very day, I give them a hug and a kiss goodnight, and they're 21 years old.
Yeah.
And if I forget, they come and say goodnight, Daddy, and give me a hug and a kiss. So it's like one of those things that I think that though you mentioned that,
and that's a phenomenon because Steve Dolphin has no emotions except for his family.
So it's an overrated experience.
But at least where it matters, right?
Right. That part.
This is so good, right? Because this sets the stage for really what we want to talk about.
That's right.
Even tonight, we want to debunk those myths. But I throw out to the panel that can become exhausting.
There we go.
The perceptions of society,
fighting
the incorrect expectations.
Yes.
I've got to deal with this when we know what the truth is. We know what our lived experience is. Not to mention sometimes being a pioneer for something that you had no example of than Heathcliff Huxtable and Carl Winslow. Right. And so when you are paving the path to do something that many in our community probably, are just a generation or two away from that narrative being a reality, but it's not now. It gets exhausting and you just get tired, and it can impact the overall wellness of the Black man.
That's right.
And so when we start thinking about the overall wellness of a Black man, spirit, soul, and body, what does an integrated approach look like? Let's start by going with the great bishop himself, Bishop Sean.
I don't know why we keep landing here, but I'm going to work with it. I want to piggyback on something. When you look at what he said, when we say he's modeling, if we were to synonymously put that to text, he is training up the children. We say model the expected behavior, but the scripture says to train.
Yeah.
And what I love about his training is that he does not remove the emotional component of being fully present.
Yes.
We are teaching misconceptions here. Let me give you a good example. I just preached a funeral. Here is what we did. The young man is hurting. His best friend is dead. You walk up to him and tell him, you need to man up. Crying is for boys. Well, what exactly do you think he is?
Yeah.
Right.
He is exactly that. He is a young man that is going through pain. And if we would teach him how to embrace his emotions, when he becomes grown, he will learn that crying does not make him weak. Crying means he's vulnerable. Vulnerable means that there is strength. Strength means that God is in the process of working. But that's not the concept that he walked off with. He was told to man up. So we have to get away from that being vulnerable is a sign of weakness, because it is.
Absolutely.
So we have to own that when dads are present, that should not be the news cycle. It is just a cycle.
That's good. That's good.
And then the other thing we need to look at when we start talking about what his question was, I think we have to go all the way back to one thing. How you perceive it does tell me how you will receive it. How you perceive what you're looking at, what you think, how you think it, what you do with it, will tell me how you will react to it in the outcome. And I think that we schedule a lot of generational curses, if you will. We propagate and perpetuate these things When we have the ability to kill the very curse of that thing by elevating not just our personal presence, not our financial presence, but we should also elevate our spiritual presence. Our boys should not be allergic to us laying hands on them. We should. My daddy was married to my mother 54 years, and the one thing my daddy did every night when he came home, he came in, took his shower. He ate with us. Then he took a shower, and before he went to bed, he came to each one of us and got on the side of the bed. And it wasn't no Lord lay me down to sleep. It was, now son, turn thanks for the day God has allowed you to live. And then don't just pray for me, pray for all of us. And all of us, everybody connected to our love language, our love life, not our name. The only way to break this narrative is not only to be present, not only to model the expected behavior, but to live in truth, or what the good church call holiness. Holiness without holiness is useful religion. It is useless religion. People how to be present is holiness.
You got the bishop. You got the pastor and Dr. Scott over here about to run. If we had put us in B flat.
My lane. No, it take me to E natural and less work. Y'all forget I play. If we're gonna really do this thing, it's not just about. And here's the thing, y'all. Consistency builds a habit.
Yes.
And consistency breaks one.
Come on.
Say that one more time for the backward.
Consistency builds a habit. Consistency breaks one. My daddy said this with his 8th grade education. People lie, their patterns do not.
That's right.
What you consistently do.
Hold on. Go ahead.
See, let's stick a pin there and let's go to the panel. Let's stick a pin. And let's go to the panel.
I'm sorry. Let me come
because it's going to turn into Wednesday night joy night service, even though joy night was on Friday night, right? I can't do that. That's not what I'm here for. But patterns are important.
Yes, sir.
Because often what happens is we say you need to be disciplined. But the reality is you are disciplined. So how do we realign your efforts?
Let's bring Dr. Chris in, because I always believe there's a correlation between our physical, our natural, and our emotional bodies in that, because we know how to train our physical bodies when we want to do something. And I'll say this first, as men, especially when it comes to sports training or something, or if we need to beef up or something, but we don't know how to translate that into other areas of our lives. And as a master physical therapist, talk to us, Dr. C.
Well, I know I talk a lot with my patients and clients that I work with, and it's this idea of what we talk about, like regional interdependence. And it's this idea that things that seem remote or unrelated are actually part of what's going on. And so I think that there are just patterns that are all throughout the world and all throughout the universe that fit into what we were talking about. And so, case in point, from a physical therapy standpoint, you might have back pain, but your back pain might be coming from the fact that your ankle's locked up, or the fact that you can't move your spine. But but we live in this very focused either or kind of world where it's like you come in and really I can get onto a soapbox as far as how the system
Go ahead.
You're just going to focus on that back pain, and you're really treating the symptoms, but you're not getting to the root cause of what's going on. And so to your, as far as like, what does an integrated approach look like?
Come on and talk to us.
It's a little bit of everything. You have to be winning. You have to be, the reason why they say 120 over 70 is, your target for blood pressure, because somehow statistically they measured like that's the cut point. And what they know is that statistically speaking, you have an increased likelihood of having some issues if it's above that. It's not a guarantee, but it's an increased
high probability.
Exactly. Yeah. The likelihood increases. And so then you start looking at, it's like looking at risk factors, and then you start having a cluster of risk factors. Well, with that way of thinking, I'm like, you have to meet that cut level in everything, not just your medical health, but also your financial health, also your spiritual health, also your social health, also your emotional, intellectual health. Are you growing? Are you thriving in all of those things? And I think sometimes we look at it, you see it today. There are a lot of successful people who are out here crushing it financially and in their career, but they're getting divorces. You know, they're not with their children.
Yeah,
it's unbalanced. Exactly. And you need to find the balance between all of it. You need to hit the cut mark and you need to find the balance within all of it. And so, and there's a lot, you know, I feel like where you see there's a problem, I kind of get excited because there's a lot of opportunity for solutions. And having this, you know, as men, a lot of times we also kind of separate ourselves from one another. We don't
compartmentalize too. Yes,
absolutely. And so, and I think we don't really appreciate the value of being around other men, being around that masculine energy. It's like the barbershop. It's like being in a frat. All of that, those good times that you have with that. And then what happens is that we get married. No, you can't hang out with your friends anymore, and you can't blah 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 yada yada. And then so you're cutting off parts of these dudes that this is what makes me me. This is what makes me
your
great.
Support system.
Absolutely.
That's what you fell in love with when you met.
Exactly. So why are you trying to change? You can't change. You can't change a player's game in the 9th inning. Come on now.
Gage, you were going like this. Talk to us about that, especially when we're talking about the patterns, the integrative approach, and how our mental health affects us physically on the outward. Because I said if we don't deal with that mentally, it does go back to the physical and the medical. Go ahead, Gage, because you was up there chomping. I saw you.
I mean, I think you just did a phenomenal job in putting all that together. But I'm getting a lot of nature and nurture.
Yes.
Right. So what is our nature? I'm a Henderson. When I look at all the Hendersons before me, we have issues with our anger and temper. My daughter, 1.5, will throw a fit, look you in your face, and storm off. That's our nature. So what I have to do is go back and look at patterns. We were talking about generational curses, right? Or whatever. So now, what are the patterns, and what am I going to do differently? What we forget is our past is a roadmap of a lot of times of either what to do or what not to do. The bishop had an amazing father who came in every night and prayed over him, said, I need you to pray for that set the example. I didn't have that. So now what I have to do is go back, okay, what didn't I have, but what would I wanted? And now let me do that. Right. And then now we go to the nurture point. Now I could come in and I could start building up. I can start molding. I can start having these conversations. I can go back and I could check in because I'm being intentional. If you are not intentional with what you are doing, you are going to fail in every aspect. For example, I had to take a moment and I noticed switching. Again, I'm blessed to be working from home, but I had to notice, hold on, Gage, you're getting snappy, right? How often do we as men check in with ourselves?
That's right.
More importantly, I think to your Dr. Chris, your point, how often do we allow other people to check in about us? Or are we too prideful? Is our ego too like, no, you have nothing to say to me. You got nothing to tell me. Hold on. Because unless I got a 360 view, I don't have that. My vision and my focus is in one direction.
Right.
So am I going to let my spouse tell me, hey, Gage, you can't talk to me like that? Am I going to let my friends come and say, hey, bro, are you okay? Let me check in with you and be vulnerable enough, like we said, to tell them that, hey, this is what's really going on. So when I did that, I had to realize, okay, now, and we're talking about an integrated approach. I do think mental health is a phenomenal portion, but if we are not connected with each other, which I think is a spiritual component, but also connected with, just some sort of higher power other than you that gives you meaning and purpose. But then also naturally, we have to take care of our bodies and the way they function. We don't realize getting outside, getting some exercise, some vitamin D, that's going to improve and boost your mood. And we also asked, when's the last time you had a checkup, a physical?
Come on, man.
Not realizing a simple, and I'm telling you my story. Hey, Gage, your vitamin D level is low. Ooh, okay. So what I need to do? X, Y, and Z. Boom. 3 weeks later, I'm good. I'm back to normal.
Right.
I listened to those people around me. I went and I noticed, I accepted, I humbled myself that something was off. And then I went through the process, the check and balance. I think Dr. Chris, you said it well. Not the symptom, what's the root?
Right.
Yeah.
My root's good, so now I'm good.
Yeah. Right.
There's this trend that we're hearing, and we're going to go to Steve in a minute about the value of community.
Yes.
We said last night is that I've got to connect before I confide, because we know that it is a dumb dichotomy to think that it's either or. It's really both. And it's about alignment. It's about connection. And so there is strength in numbers, and we're better together. And if we're just dropping in on the barbershop, I love the barbershop. Some probably hadn't been to the barbershop in a minute, Steve and Marty. But I
wait a minute. Wait. How you going to call us out like shooting?
Yeah, I enjoyed the barbershop, right? But when I go in the barbershop, it's like, it's so funny. My wife is on right now. So, baby, I love you. I'm blowing you a kiss. But like, I'm gonna go with you to the barbershop. No, I don't want you to go with me to the barbershop.
Right,
no,
I'm
gonna sit in the car. No, it's an experience, right? That's my thing. You know what I'm saying? I get to go in there. It's like I'm the alderman of the barbershop. We got the mayor. I'm the alderman. When I walk in, I say things and I do things. They don't even know. They don't know I'm no pastor. You know what I'm saying? They don't know, and I tell them, because I don't want to go there and be the pastor. Right. I just want to go there and be John Henry.
Yeah.
You know, and so we need community.
Finding the commonality in that of just brotherhood, black brotherhood.
Let's talk about that if we can. And Steve, let's go, because you and Marty are best friends, but let's talk about what that looks like in terms of our overall
Oh my.
Nothing wrong with your me time.
So let's go back to the show. Let's go to Steve.
Come on, Steve.
Let's go to Steve. Like with the value of community and connection.
Am I my brother's keeper?
Boom,
definitely.
Man.
Right. It's funny you say that, because I wrote down here as you were talking there about the group, about developing the group. You know, I think that, and we talked about business and that kind of thing before. I heard about a couple of years ago that we were so indoctrinated with "I got mine, you get yours" mentality, that we fail on understanding that we have each other's back. And if you call someone your friend, your confidant, that kind of thing, but then you tend to like still want to be on an island and not invite your confidant, your friend into your world. When you talk about being totally vulnerable with your friends, that kind of thing. I'm fortunate because I have, friends that I truly can lean on when from forever. When times was rough, I felt comfortable and safe to say, "Hey, this is what I'm going through right now," and checking in and say that this is what's going on in my world. What do you think? And trust the fact that they're not going to give me false or weird advice and that kind of thing. They're going to have my genuine well-being, and it may not be what I want to hear, but they know me well enough to say that, "Hey, Steve, you're messing up. I can't get with you on that." And that kind of attitude that you say that you tend to have with someone you trust, and that to me is a grounding experience when you can say that, when you build that community of people that you can actually work together with, and being, like you say here, vulnerable, like George just mentioned. That's important, and I struggle with that. I'm the quintessential, maybe the hardcore person in the sense of, I'm from South America. I'm from Guyana, and I was raised in a culture where you don't cry. You man up. You're a provider. You go chop that tree down and trim it with everything you can, and eat off that tree, and you bring it to the house, and you go back out the next day and rinse and repeat. And that's how I was raised. My dad came home. When my dad came home in the middle of the night from after work, all we heard the keys jingling and hitting the door. We scattered like roaches. That's a South American household, and I vowed that I would never reproduce or duplicate that environment for my kids. And even though with my eldest son, we had one of the older sessions we had with Marty, we did just that because I didn't know any better. And I have friends that are saying that, "Hey, Steve, you're way too hard on these kids. Just pull it back." And I think that by having that group, that community, and that kind of thing, it can help that. and it stems even past the social aspect of, I believe, of your group, your social network. I think it even goes into business, because you know how many types of that's why I love what Marty is doing right now with mental health. He's bringing in all the different people and all different independent contractors into one location and grow together. That's amazing. And finding a way to incorporate everyone. Because I've heard some stats one time where they talked about the problem we're having in the Black community is we have everyone wants to do it by themselves and failing. On average, they're only profiting 10 grand a year because they have to do it by themselves. Everybody got to be a boss. Instead of having a community and building that community, other races do it and are very, very successful at it and build enterprises like that. So I think that we can accomplish that, but I think we all again fall into that false narrative that if I don't do it, it's not going to be done right, and I can only trust myself, and you know, and all those different negative things we hear, and then we breed that into our children, and then they reproduce that again, that generational curse.
Right. That nature and nurture, what Gage was talking about earlier.
Absolutely.
And how do we break that so that we can become the desire? Because a lot of us have, if you talk to the average Black father, we have this ideal. It's almost, a lot of times I sit and I said, I see greatness in you. What is keeping you from being who you know you are? And it's fear of criticism, of failure, of being thrown back into our faces, all those things that block us a lot of times. I'm seeing your face, Bishop. Talk to me.
Well, I think that we need, so on the spiritual side, I'll give you that, right? I'll give you that. But we also need to talk about the trauma that's attached to being vulnerable, that men.
Yes, exactly.
And we also need to talk about this thing called vicarious trauma, if you will. And that is the trauma that's like secondhand smoke. It just shows up. Next thing you realize, you've been smoking, 20 years later, your lung is going out. But you don't connect, as he said, the root cause that you smoked for 20 years.
Right.
You connect that you got to go through chemo, your hair gone, this, that, and the other. But the root cause isn't that you smoke. We got to go further. The root cause is that you intentionally made a decision that did not lead to your positive outcome. When we start that conversation, if we're not careful, you know, we call it generational curses, but we actually model suppression and depression before it ever becomes present.
Talk to us more about that.
And
yes.
Also teach humility is one thing. You not having self-respect is a whole nother. I can be respectable in my humanity and not let you step on me at the same time.
That's right.
And my expectation of respect is not arrogance, it's just accountability.
What's awesome.
It sounds arrogant. I check you on that. My name is this, but my title is this. And my friends suffered with me. My counterparts recognize me because I fit in a place.
That's so good. But most of us don't know the difference between that.
Yeah.
Which is why we have people like myself and those of us that are on this call, that it is our responsibility to model that, yes, my name is Sean to the people who have earned the right to call me that. Just because we are colleagues don't make us friends. My name to you professionally is this. And in the church, is my title isn't just this. My name and my servitude to your body of Christ is this. When we start teaching that your humanity and your humility are not the same thing, and then we start holding people accountable to growth factors, and this is what I mean by growth factors. I don't need you to call me by my title. I do need you to respect that I'm fully present when I do the work that I'm here to do. Most Black men, or well, let's go further, in education, most men are considered heroes if they come to school. That's not the issue I have. I lead a school in a district at the present where we graduate the most African-American Hispanic male kids in the state of Texas. 2 4-year universities.
That's
on rides, not scholarships, rides.
Let's go.
I'm increasing numbers to the military. Why? Because that's only if you prove to yourself that you can.
Right.
Come on.
The construct that we need someone to always manage us is not always true if we learn to manage ourselves. You're only responsible for yourself. What people think about you and what people say about you is exactly that. It's what they say is their business. You have no business being involved, especially if they're talking to themselves, because then that will construe a whole nother construct of crazy.
Yes, you were going to say, John Henry.
Yeah, no, I was sitting and I was thinking the journey to get to that point of where it doesn't matter what people think. That's what I think as we were talking about this narrative and stuff, because that's where community matters.
Yes.
That's where it helps. I saw something earlier where it really talked about vulnerability equals safety. And in order to do that, you've got to have accountability, because if we go through and we get started on this journey, in the absence of accountability, relapse is inevitable. That's just the bottom line, right? And so, and so what brothers and community do is they help us to be accountable.
That's right.
But everybody doesn't get the right, like I'm not accountable to you. You don't have access like that.
That's right.
And so I'm wondering, what does that look like? Because woe unto I'm straight up Jamaican, you know, and this ain't what you want. So I don't want anybody to think that just because, as the bishop would say, just because you know me, don't think that I'm accountable to you. It's Jesus had 3, you know, that he was a little bit closer to. So in that 3, that's my accountability, right? That I have to give you the right to hold me accountable, and that comes with brotherhood.
Yeah. Talk to us, Gage, because I saw you go right there. I saw you, like, you know.
Well, I mean, I love that, because Jesus modeled, to in my perspective, my vision, the need for community. He had 12, but he kept 3 close. One of them, he said, "Get behind me, Satan." So he had to have been so connected to him to be challenged so brashly, but not to rupture and ruin the relationship.
Come on, man.
Right. To allow this person to call me Satan, but still I'm going to remain close to you because I trust you and I believe in you and I know that you have my best interest in heart.
Even when you are out of character, and I pull you back into right relationship with me.
You're going to deny me, but upon this rock, I will.
There's a shift. I'm going to build it. I'm going to build it on this rock because, and I think what happens is it's a testing and proving. I think what we do so often, and a lot of times what our relationships teach us in the past, especially when we see daddy out with multiple different women, mommy going from relationship to relationship, I should just allow everyone, right? I should just, let's see, and it's going to work out. No. You got to approve that person. You got to take some time and see their character. And more importantly, I take it when I was even courting my wife. We went on, and it was a new process for me to understand, because I'll be honest, I had my BC days and I just came out of them. But there's this concept.
He said, "I just came."
I was doing it new, but it was the idea of what was spoken to me was group dating. And I said, okay, let me figure this out. So we would go out as a group, and they said the reality of it is that you can fake it in front of one person. You can't fake it in front of multiple people.
Somebody's going to catch it.
Somebody's going to catch it. So the whole time I took that and I was watching. I was sitting back and I was just seeing. And then when I saw her countenance, when I saw her character, when I saw the way she carried herself with poise in front of people, and it didn't matter if I was there or not, I said, okay, that's the one. Because I proved it. I took time. And I think that's what we do in a relationships. We just jump into it and we get hurt and we say, I'm never going to do this again. No. That's on you. You didn't take time. And I think someone said it before, how you value yourself. Right? Because if I value myself, I know how my friends are going to treat me. So the moment you step out of line with me, I value myself to cut that off and say, you know what? No more. But it goes back to, am I going to prove this? And then am I willing to draw that boundary and then choose the ones that I want? And now, it takes time.
I love it. But how can I value myself as a father when I don't even have a relationship with my father? And so I now fear the very thing that I am. and without even having a path to go down. And that so because I can't because I've been told to man up, I can't share with you. I'm lost along this journey. So I'm just going to fake it and not only just ruin my children and sometimes, but ruin me because I don't have this relationship, this accountability. With that, because I know I struggled in that a lot, and growing up in a domestic violent household, so I had to fake it. So I became over passive because I knew I could snap. I can go from 0 to 10 just like my daddy, and then I hear that, you just like yo. What's that?
Could.
Yeah, could. I want to pull Dr. Chris in here because you said something right there. Is this idea of overcompensating so that we don't become this.
And because of fault.
Dr. Chris, talk to us a little bit about that, Dr. Chris.
Well, I think a lot of it is, it's awareness. And, I think sometimes when you don't know, that's when you're more prone to overcompensate, and versus like, I'm aware of who I am. And I think that goes both ways. Like, if like, I'm a good dude, I do this, I know that I don't need to prove anything to somebody. I like what somebody else said. It's also this awareness that where I'm lacking, and that's okay too. I feel like we feel like we have to have it all figured out, and if we don't, then we're somehow defective, and it's like, no. And I think that this is beautiful in the sense that it ties back to the whole brotherhood, the community. If you have this awareness and you're like, hey, I'm good here and here, but I need work on this. And I always kind of think in analogies, and I play basketball, and it's one of those, it's okay, hey, I'm a good dribbler, I'm a good shooter, but I need to work on my defense. Hey, do you mind staying with me after practice so I can work on some stuff? Because I'm trying to win the championship. And if it's a brotherhood and a team, and a true team, it's like
championship of fatherhood.
Absolutely. And I feel like sometimes that's what's missing. And part of that is ego. Part of that is just us being disconnected. And I think part of this is just this lack of awareness. I think sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And then you start feeling all like, oh, I'm gonna get quiet. I don't know. I don't want to sound stupid. And what you don't understand is, like, in front of your brothers, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. You can't sound stupid. I know you, man.
Right. I was gonna say another word. You know what we say. Look, we can't. Not on the stream. We would never
say ninjas on the stream.
And
you ain't got the front, cuz.
Not only do I know you, but I love you so much, I cover you.
Yes.
That's good.
That's it right there, man.
I know, and I love you so much that I'm not going to let no harm, no danger. You can talk about them, but you better not say it in front of me.
Right.
And if it's factual, you need to watch how you say it.
Speak.
And one other
Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, one other thing that I think that a lot of times we lack as men, as fathers, as adults, is that we don't give our friends, our people, like other dads, they're on their flowers. You say, I make it a point at times to say, yo, dude, you're doing a great job on them kids. And in our own homeboy way, we say it, right?
Yeah.
You're doing a great job with those babies. And I think that even though sometimes people don't want to hear, they may be uncomfortable hearing that. I know I'm a victim of that, because I'm in my mentality. What do you mean? You think I'm not? What do you mean I'm doing a good job? I'm supposed to do a good job. I immediately go to that place, but it feels
like, relax,
good.
Steve. We just compliment you, bro. Gee,
right.
You never had that
back.
You never had that before. We don't hear that enough. So it's foreign, and I think that if we incorporate that a little more in the conversation. And it's not soft to say that.
Right.
Absolutely.
We got to be hard all the time. Like, dude, you're doing a great job.
Man, you know what I learned is that my best friends need the same thing that my 25-year-old son needs.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Affirmation, love. They need me to listen. They need that because perhaps there is no real disconnect between the 15-year-old me and the 42-year-old me.
And sometimes the 42-year-old you needs to go back and nurture the 15-year-old in me to say, guess what, Marty? You're going to be all right. And you made it through.
You did it.
And go back and listen. Hold your head up.
Yeah.
Stick your chest out.
Yep.
And listen to look to where you are now.
Yeah. And then lastly, this is my last point, is really, I just go back to that day in January when we were on a call and we were getting ready to just do business. And I was a wreck. I was a mess. It was the anniversary of my father's death. And I was literally just having visions of holding his hands while he was transitioning. And it took me a while. And I don't even know if I'm fully over it right now. And we weren't as close as we are right now. It was just segmented. You know how we do this business and this, blah, blah, blah. But in that moment, I was like, oh, he don't just want the work. He actually cares about me.
The human.
And I knew that. He said, you don't look well. Talk to me. And here I am. And I just broke down bawling. And I was just a wreck in that moment. And he said to me, clear your schedule for the rest of the day. I'll take care of everybody else. That type of care served me so well in that moment.
Speaks
and
volumes.
It made me feel like, oh, man, I ain't even know it was like this, because I thought you just wanted the work.
Yeah.
And didn't think you cared about
Right.
me. Brotherhood is formed when we understand that you don't care about, I'm the coldest 3-point shooter, but maybe I don't even have the skill or the desire to play D. And you step in and say, I got D. You do what you good at.
Yep.
I got this, because we one team and we about to kill it.
That's right. And not only that, I know that was a turning point in our relationship. We became truly brothers at that point. It wasn't just a business working relationship, because I've had the same. And so with that, we have definitely cared for, and Steve's done it to me. Be like, I almost said Ninja,
Sir,
I ain't heard from you.
Sir. Can the people with the microphones get to the appropriate vocabulary? These are your church announcements.
Good. This is, I mean,
Govern
look,
yourself according.
we already over an hour. I can't even believe it.
We over. They're on the back going, y'all over.
Crazy.
Right.
I just feel like we just in the rhythm of it
great
all.
conversation.
But that mean you just got to come back, because this was so good.
This was absolutely amazing. I can't thank you guys enough, because and I can say at each point in my life, John Henry has helped save my business. Steve has just helped me be a better parent, and just when I needed someone, he makes the best old fashioned in the world. Anyway,
I'm gonna need that.
Thank you,
My language.
Yes.
What day am I coming?
Come on through.
and Bishop breathed life into me when I wanted to give up, and thought that because I was getting a divorce that God could not continue to use me. And if it had not been for this, and Gage is becoming like a little brother to me, and what he's doing, and Chris is just that I'm becoming like my homeboy right now, and the things that we're sharing. But in this, and I thank God for these brothers, because I can be vulnerable with them, and all of you, and it does not take away from who I am as a man. In fact, it strengthens me because of that. And I can't thank you all enough for being here tonight and sharing that with us. Before we go, I just want to have you all, how can we follow you, and what do you want to tell fathers out there? I'm going to start with Rasta GT, a.k.a. Steve Dolphin.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
You can always find me on IV Bound LA. And my wife and I launched a YouTube channel last year, where we are talking about helping our kids who look like us and less fortunate understand that you too are worthy of those elite schools, even if they want to go to a school like a Stanford.
Hey, easy. Easy now.
Pay all the extra money for the
Go
same
Cardinals.
education.
Go Cardinals.
Go Bears. So maybe go get my. But yes,
you know, we find that, you know, we want to let people know that there's a lot of opportunities out there, and let them understand and help them build their confidence that they too deserve those starts, in, you know, to launch their lives and launch their career. Because I think that one of the big pivotal factors is to understand that you choose the environment, not the environment choosing you, is important.
That's good.
And give these kids an opportunity to understand that, yeah, they're strong, they're powerful in their own way. So we started. So Ivy Bound LA is the site, and you can find us on Instagram, Ivy Bound LA. You can reach me there. On Facebook, Ivy Bound LA, all one group. And I'm here to help and, you know, serve you guys as best I can. And we're here to make this thing happen for our kids.
Yes. Appreciate you, Steve. Much love, my brother. Brother Gage, talk to us. How can we find you, and what do you want to leave with these fathers tonight?
Yeah, so simply, I'm on Instagram at The Helping Henderson. You know, feel free to follow me on Instagram. Feel free to just interact with whatever posts that stick out to you. There's some more things that are becoming, but I know the stage I'm in. So anyways, what I would leave for fathers, I think what's sticking with me is you have an opportunity to either recreate or procreate, right? So you can procreate what you've been through, right? Just put something out there and do everything you've done, or you can take a moment to put your hands on it and recreate it to be something new. I think there's a lot of things that we've learned that are helpful, and a lot of things that are unhelpful. But I think every day, I'm sticking with Bishop, what your dad said. This is a day that you've been allowed to live, right? You didn't wake up guaranteed it. So be in the moment, stay present, and enjoy everything, because it's fleeting and we don't know when it's gone.
Thank you, Gage. Dr. Chris.
Wow. You can find me on Instagram, Dr. Chris I am. Is dots in between each word, doctor, because somebody took Dr. Chris already, so I had to come up with a creative way to do that. So that's my IG handle. I'm also on TikTok as Dr. Chris Williams on TikTok, so feel free to come on and follow me or check me out there. To the fathers, I would say that, man, like you were so needed. Like, don't believe that false belief, that false narrative that's going out there. You know, Chris Rock said, you know, it was a joke. He was like, you can drive a car with, you know, I don't need you. I can raise these kids without a man. And it's like, yeah, you can drive a car with your foot, but that doesn't mean that that's how it's meant to be done. You are needed. Wow. Any man with a Johnson can have a kid, but it takes a real man to raise his child. And so that's the opportunity. And so like you just shared, the stats, you can't argue with the stats, but there's still a lot of negative momentum that we have to push up against. And I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I don't know, I'm always down. I want to be a part of the rebellion that takes down the evil empire. And so look, Marty, any of you brothers, whatever y'all need, you know, to be a part of that, I'm down. So
same
here.
Much love, brother. And Bishop Sean.
You want me to come behind that?
Yes, sir.
You got it.
like you, from
yes,
the yo line to the procreate. Like, what supposed to do with that, Reverend?
Bishop, whatever you're gonna do, little country boy.
Listen, I can be found on our church app. If you have Google or the iCloud store, you can go to FC Houston and find us, Freedom Church Houston, and you can download the app, and that will connect you to every social media that I'm on for the church and me personally. It'll get you to me. I am intentional about my time, so if you want to connect with me, that's the best way to do it, especially if you want to talk one-on-one. Go download the app, or you can go to fchouston.org and get it and download and connect with me there. I would like to leave you with this. Just because they said it, until you own it, it's still your truth. And just because they said it, until you own it. And it's not your truth. Do you have to do? Yes. Did you mess up? Yes. But I need you to celebrate your wins as hard as you debunk yourself in your negativity. Know that I love me some, all of you. There is no part of you can bring to me that I will never love. I love me some, all of you. And until we connect again, I am your boy.
Love it, love it, love it. John Henry Scott.
Fantastic. John Henry, that's my name. You can find me on my company website, www.chart2heart.com. And again, we're fortunate to be able to serve businesses that are going through rapid growth or slow growth. If you're experiencing employee issues, leadership issues, any type of trouble, you're not making no money, you want to make more money, you're making too much money. If you're in trouble, call us. And that's what we do. We had an opportunity to do that on 6 of the 7 continents. I'm driven by the cause of being able to partner with companies that look like me. So reach out to me, and it's a great privilege of mine. And what I will leave you with is just simply, you're worthy of love.
That's right.
You are worthy of love.
Marty, can I say one thing real quick, Marty?
Of course. Go right ahead.
I didn't get a chance to share with the fathers. All I really want to say quickly is fight for your kids.
That's good.
However that looks like. Be there, be present, and fight for them.
Love it. Thank you, Steve. Listen, this has been an amazing 3 days.
Well, Mark, how do we get in touch with you, sir?
Well, of course, Marcel Consulting, or by everything Mental Health Marty, mentalhealthmarty.com. And we are so excited that we have now launched and been official LLC, and you're going to see some more great stuff coming from Mental Health Marty and mental wellness, what we're going to be doing in all aspects of it. So thank you. Gentlemen, thank you again.
This is wonderful.
Excellent.
Even to the audience that's been with us.
Yes, thank you for being with us these past days.
Incredible. When we started this in February, we wanted to come back.
That's right.
I mean, we did it.
We did it.
So we let you know that we're coming back.
We're coming back.
And we're coming with new, refreshed. We ain't gonna put it out, but if you follow us, then you know that Black Men May Well. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. We're gonna be revamping us. Look for us in. Look for us in Bishop. I ain't dealing with you. Look for us in the fall for the Black Men May Well. I can't. Thank you so much. This has been our absolute joy, pleasure, and honor. And listen, as I always say, we don't want you to continue to secretly suffer a shadow of shame. We want you to speak up, speak out, and live. Much thanks to the Mac in the back. D. Mitch, thank you. Kick us out of here, and we'll see you soon.
Peace
Take
out,
care.
everybody.
God bless.
Peace.